Alright, so welcome to my tutorial on the future perfect. I hope during this lesson or after this lesson you should be able to know what the future perfect is, how to recognize it, and also how to use it. To use it in an everyday context, alright? So let's start with the future perfect. So future perfect. Alright, maybe not the best writing. But alright, so let's think about the future perfect. When do we use the future perfect? We use the future perfect when we want to talk about something which happens in the future and something else happens after that. So basically what we're talking about is sequencing, okay? So imagine you have some kind of timeline, alright? Here you have the present, alright? And you have something which happens here in the future and over here. So let's make that blue. Oops, sorry, that isn't blue. There we go. Okay, and the other one red. Alright, so we got blue and red. What happens first? The blue thing happens first. After that we have a red thing. Alright. So, what I would like to add here, okay, we have a perfect tense, right? Think about it. You probably know the present perfect, you know, the past perfect. What happens there, okay? If you have a perfect, it means that it is complete, right? It's perfect. It's finished. It's something which has been completed. There's some kind of result. Very often there's some kind of result connected to it, or a product, all right? And what we will look, or the way that's connected to that, I will show you right now in the following example. But before that, I would like to talk to you about the structure, okay? So the structure is the subject, so me, you, or he, she, it, plus will, oops, got the I right, plus will, plus have, plus, okay, the third form of the verb. Alright, maybe I'll take a thinner size here. Okay, so the third form of the verb, okay, or the past participle. Some others might know it under that name. Okay, so it's actually quite simple, I would say. Alright, you have, like in the present perfect, you have here. You don't have the will in the present perfect, right? But you have plus the third form. And by now, you know, if you want to use this future perfect tense perfectly, or in a proper way, you should know your third forms, okay? Because if you don't know the third forms, you won't know how to build this tense, and you'll have some difficulties building it, alright? So let me put this down to a sentence. How could we write this, alright? I'll write about myself, because I like to talk about myself. Everybody likes to talk about themselves. So let me think about it. Let me think about what I will do in the future today, just only about today, and I will do it before, let's say, the end of the day. Okay. So, for example, I'm a teacher, right, and I will have taught, let's say, today it's probably going to be five lessons. I will have taught 5 lessons by the end of the day. Okay? Maybe this might not be so obvious, right? But you can think about it. What comes first here? I will have taught 5 lessons, or the end of the day. What comes first, right? The end of the day doesn't come first, obviously. So let's look at this blue color here. What came first here? All right, and let's underline that. Oops, that's not blue. There we go. Okay, will have taught 5 lessons, and then the end of the day, right, and then we got that. So that's basically it, right? And what you can do, you can change this as well, alright? You don't have to say by the end of the day, right? Because this doesn't actually mean, this isn't an action, right? So let me maybe change this and put an action right here. Let me just get my eraser, make that a little bigger. That might take a second or so. But let me get rid of this. And let's imagine there's some kind of action involved here, a second action, okay? So I will have taught 5 lessons, and then let's change this to before I return home. Okay, I will have taught 5 lessons before I return home. And what you have here, you have the present simple. Okay, we use the future perfect with the present simple together as the second sequence. Alright, so I'll put that into its right color again. Alright, here you got the red. Alright, before I return home. So, and what you can do, what you saw before, I will have taught 5 lessons before I return home. You could change before with oops, you could return before with by the time I return home. Okay, and you have to watch out because by the time is a fixed phrase. You cannot say by I return home. That doesn't make any sense. We don't say that in English, okay? So I will have taught 5 lessons by the time I return home or before I return home. It's the same thing. There's no change in meaning. You can interchange them, alright? So let's think about, I'll get rid of this now, alright? But you can always come back to this part in the video. Let's think about you, okay? Think about yourself. Think about something you will have done by the end of the day or before you drive home, before you return home, okay? Maybe you're a student, maybe you're a worker, you work in an office, okay? So, and then you could say, I will have, let's say you work in an office, okay? I will have written, let's say 25 emails before I go home. Alright, so here you have it again. The sequence. Let's put this timeline here one more time so you can see what I mean. So first things first, what comes first? This red thing. What came first? So think about it. Maybe pause the video if you want to. Think about what came first. I'll assume you have paused and already thought about it. Okay, what part came first? I will have written 25 emails or go home. What did you do first? Right? Will have written 25 emails. Right? You wrote 25 emails. You were at work. Right? And then, after that, obviously, you went home. Okay? Alright, so it's that simple actually. Okay? And you, basically what you can do, you can just get rid of this third form here and you can replace it with anything else. Okay? Maybe also what you will, you know, what thing you will have done. Okay? For example, if you're a student, I will have had, oops, sorry about that. Let's go back. I will have had 25, let's say, maybe that's a lot, that's too many, not 25 lessons, but maybe today you are a student and you will have had, let's say, 6 lessons. lessons before I go home, or before I return home, alright? So you can change that. You can put in here, you can change the verb, the third form, right? This is the third form. You can change it and also change the meaning by changing the third form, okay? That's basically it, alright? So let's maybe change this around so you can see that we can change the clauses of the sentence, alright? For example, you could take this part here, okay, this first part, alright, and start with that. So you could say, before I go home, I will, and I'm going to have to fix that problem with my pen, with that I will have had, or written, oh, oops, sorry, thinking and writing at the same time, talking doesn't work. I will have had 6 lessons. Okay, and then you don't have to finish the sentence. You can say I will have had 6 lessons, and then you can say, you know, where did you have those lessons? In school. Alright, so you can play with that a bit. But that's basically, that's the basic structure I told you about, and it doesn't matter, as I showed you right now, what comes first, this part or this part. They're interchangeable, and it doesn't change the sequence either. Because if you think about it, what came first, okay? What happened first here? You had, or you will have had 6 lessons in school, right there, before you go home. Alright? So I hope that helps you, and that makes the future perfect a little bit more clear to you.